Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more interviews, more adventures, and more knowledge and experiences that we're going to get here at the interviews at Star West 2025, where we are reporting directly from Anaheim, California, in the Disneyland Hotel. All the magic, all the sparks, and all the wizards. And speaking about wizards, I have one of them with me today, one of the speakers of the conference, Franco.
Yes.
How are you, Lou?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. And hi to everybody out there.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Again, thank you for being here. And it's everybody, we were having like a pre stream conversation, sharing a little bit. And I'm super excited of all the things that we're going to be talking about with Lou. But before we get into business, I'm going to ask Lou, please, to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what
Sure.
makes you special for the people that do not know you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lou Franco. I'm a software engineer. I've been a professional for about 30 something years. Most of my career spent at startups. I was at 4 different startups and then at the companies that acquired them. And the most recent one was I started at Trello in 2014 and then was there through the Atlassian acquisition. And I left there in 2021. And currently, I'm a consultant, independent consultant, and advisor to software teams.
And you are also a conference presenter.
Yeah. Yes, today I am, or tomorrow I am.
You mean tomorrow you are? Aren't you commonly? Is this the first time that you come to
Oh no,
present your
it's the
conference?
first time at Star West. I've been at a few different conferences as a speaker, but but it's not a still a once in a while thing.
Yeah, not like the road warrior that we used to see here.
Yeah.
But it's really good to see someone with the experience that you
Mhm.
are sharing with us, and not only that type of experience, but all the knowledge and the efforts that you put on to try to share with the community and help them learn and grow,
Yep.
which not only coming here and giving talks, which we are going to talk about in a
Mhm.
moment, but I wanted to ask you because we were talking. I heard somewhere over
Mhm.
over the rainbow. Is that Disney stuff? I hope not. Well, never mind. Um, I heard that you just managed to publish a book.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, the book Swimming and Tech Dev.
Yeah. Swimming in tech debt, and it came out last week,
Oh my God.
Tuesday, and
We should have a cake or something to celebrate that
I
because
know.
it's a big milestone. Trust me.
Yeah, I was glad that it happened before I came here because I did want to talk about it. And it's something I've been working on for the past 21 months. It's my take and mindset and approach to technical debt and some practical tips for engineers working with code bases, for teams collectively managing a code base, and then also a CTO perspective. So I try to treat it at 3 different levels. And I try to show my approach, things I've done over the course of my career, and stories, and what happened for good or for bad.
That's it's a really big endeavor. I'm really happy that you work on this 21 months,
Hmm.
almost 2 years
Yeah.
pushing and
Hmm.
trying to create something that will help, I hope, mankind in
Hmm.
general. And I know that all of us want to be the next J.K. Rowling and write a
Yeah.
Harry Potter series, but I was wondering what drove you to write this book? What
Yeah.
made you like one morning wake up and say like, I think I'm gonna become an author?
Well, I've been blogging on my site, loufranco.com, for about 20 years, just trying to share some of the things I've learned about software engineering and teams and recruiting and interviewing and just generally things that might be interesting to software engineers. And in the end of 2023, I decided, let me read through this material and see if I have a book idea or something. And when I did, I kind of realized that I had this series of posts that were about technical debt and others about developer productivity. And I kind of realized the intermingling of those, that technical debt is a way of getting developer productivity and what that might mean. It just sparked a bunch of ideas, new ideas that I did some research on and talked to colleagues and put out chapters for feedback. And I just over the first 6 months kind of just developed it into a more fully fledged idea. And I just felt like I had something to add to the conversation about technical debt, and I wanted to write it.
That's, I don't know, this feeling like I have already created enough, and why not put it together in some
Mm.
format that is, because not everybody reads
All
blogs,
right.
or not anymore. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't have a blog reading habit anymore.
Right.
I used to, like 10 years ago, was like that thing. Then podcasts, and who knows what
Right.
are we gonna be here consuming. You gotta start on TikToks now.
Yeah.
No, 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 I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Don't,
just
don't.
cut this up into TikToks. Yeah.
um, no, but it's really interesting. All the content that 20 years you said,
Yeah.
20 years blogging, 20 years of knowledge and ideas, condensed in a single book.
Well, it's
Uh,
not. It's not.
not
Yeah, I
that
was
makes
going to
sense.
say it's mostly it's a jumping off point from those things. I wouldn't say that it's the blog
No, no,
so
no, no,
much, but
no.
it's the it's a jumping off point. I realized that one of the things I had thought about technical debt is just generally I did not like the debt metaphor, the financial debt metaphor. And I had said that a few times in the blog, and now I've really gone deep into like why do I not like it, and what do I propose instead is what I've figured out in the book. Yeah.
Without, I mean, everybody go
Mhm.
and check here down in the comments. You will see in the comments, in the video description, you will see a link for where you can get Luz book. Please go, and I believe you have a surprise for the
Oh
people
yeah.
on these days,
Well, the
right?
book had just came out, and it's got an introductory price of 99 cents in the
Oh my
U.S.
god.
and the equivalent in the other markets. And I'm leaving it like that until the end of the conference, because to give the conference attendees here a chance, if they want to buy it for 99 cents, I would want to make it available to them.
To the end of the conference, you mean
Yeah,
tomorrow
till this
afternoon?
weekend, let's
Oh,
say.
this weekend.
Yeah,
Okay.
like maybe Monday. Let's just say.
It's a little bit, I'm trying to push like the hurry up. Call today. Call right now to get this special prize that you
Yeah.
know.
Nah.
But definitely go and get it. But not to discourage people to buy it, just to
Mhm.
give them like a teaser.
Oh, sure.
What would you say is the message or the element that you're the most proud
Hmm.
that people are going to learn from your book?
Right. Well, I tried to put it right on the cover. Swimming in tech debt. It's how I think of tech debt. So I think of it as resistance that you feel if you're swimming upstream in a code base.
Mm.
And the reason I want people to think of it that way is because it gives you a better way to make decisions about what to do, as opposed to the debt metaphor, which I think implies some kind of obligation to pay the debt, which I don't think there is, and also that you did it intentionally in a bad way. You took a shortcut and now you owe this debt. And I don't think that either of those things, the obligation or the fact that you might have taken a shortcut, tells you what to do now that you are having the resistance problems. But if you think of it like resistance, then you can apply uh, actions towards it, depending on what exactly is happening at the time that you're having the problem, or in anticipation of having the problem based on knowing the knowledge of your roadmap. And then in the book, I try to break it down to 8 questions that you should ask about tech debt that gets at various ways to think about it, and then helps you decide whether this problem is worth paying down or is not. And also to give you, in the cases where it might be dangerous or not advisable to deal with that debt, but if you just need to for some reason, which definitely happens, it by answering the questions, it kind of gives you a guide for what exactly to do about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And pay attention to these small tidbits that Louis is giving you. Technical debt is always, I like your perspective of not looking it at like with the negative connotation
Mm, yeah.
of that. It's just like something that you gotta do. In my mind, it always has been like brushing your teeth. Is
Yes. And I also advocate for a process that is all the time. So to the degree that makes sense for your project, but that is something that you're is regular, not something you just do only if you run into problems.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not the most exciting thing every at least 2 times a day, 3 times a day to brush your teeth.
yeah,
It's like, and I remember when I was a kid, like my mom, like, have you brushed your teeth? I don't want that. It just takes a few minutes, a couple of minutes,
yeah,
and I mean, you should, I think, probably do it more than a couple of minutes.
yeah.
Brush thoroughly, but it happens as well. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm not gonna. Me, 40-something-year-old, about to go to bed. I'm
Yeah.
really tired. I'm skipping it tonight
Mm.
and in the morning. But it starts to pile up, and you start to feel not
Yeah.
pretty. And it can get if you just let it go and become truly dead or something
Mm.
that becomes bad.
Yeah.
You don't want a ugly dentist visit and
Right.
to be hearing. And in our teams, in our projects, is as well. You don't want to get to the point where you have to. Oh
Right.
no no.
Right.
Now, Lou, as well, you are coming to this conference, as you were mentioning, prepared to give a talk, give a presentation.
Hmm.
Do you mind as well spoiling it a little bit? What's
Sure.
the
Of course.
title and what is it about?
Yeah, yeah. Things that I talk about for how to deal with tech net debt. One of the things that you would do is add automated testing to areas of the code base that you might be changing in in a way that would make it less risky to change that code. That's a normal thing to do for code that might be being refactored. I think a lot of people might have read "Working Effectively with Legacy Code" by Michael Feathers, and it's goes through all the various ways which you might do that. And so you might end up with a code base. Hopefully, you have a code base with automated tests in it. Hopefully, a lot of people here do. I know automated testing is a big focus of Star West. So what my talk is about is code coverage metrics, and it's called going beyond code coverage. And the essential message I want to say is that I wouldn't want to recommend to anyone that they should just have a code coverage goal, like 80% code coverage. That that metric isn't as useful as trying to do something else. And my talk is about what to do with code, starting with code coverage. What could you do to fix it as a metric that helps you make business decisions? So very focused on using it to make business decisions. And I show 4 different ways to augment it. I'm going to demo some open source tools and show there are even some commercial tools in this area, or even just show you how you might make custom things, which I did. And I'll be showing all of that with the goal to not just understand how to fix code coverage metrics, but using these ideas I'm going to show you, you'll be able to fix a lot of metrics where they're too one-dimensional, or they are easy to game and not get the result that you're really trying to get. And so that's what I hope to share with the audience tomorrow.
I'm glad that you're giving that presentation because code coverage is always a big headache
Mhm.
for uh, that you say, though those metrics are easy to game or gamify even,
Yes. Yeah.
where I always give this example, like when you mentioned, I don't know, 80%
Yeah.
code coverage. What is an 80%? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay, you're
Mhm.
just gonna eat today's meal until you are 80% there. What does that mean? How does 80% feel?
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
very subjective, and it depends on so many factors, measurements,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you're going to some through some of
Yeah,
those
I mean,
misconceptions,
the
right?
main thing, I mean, for anybody with a large code base, and
Ooh.
different parts of it would want different goals, right? Like there are some that would, and some that wouldn't might want 100% coverage, and some where you might not think that a coverage is the goal for that because you have other ways of dealing with that area, or it's just too hard, or it's under too much flux and you don't want to add brittleness in the test. So there are, and then if you are already low, so let's say you're at 50% and you decide you want to be at 80%, you have so much to do that, like, the first questions you should have in mind is what's the priority, what's first. And so that's kind of the questions I'm going to get at. Yes, if you're low, and if you're very low, if you have no tests, like obviously I think you should have some. Like zero coverage is not a good number, but
Never.
but still, like, if it's that much off, you're going to need some kind of way to guide your work, that has the most return, you know, right away, or so that you can get paid. Sorry, write the test that or be the most effective in your system.
The best bang for the buck
Yeah,
or of the work that you're doing at.
yeah,
I really agree because when you mentioned the gaming the system where the metrics are not well defined or the priorities,
yeah.
I have seen teams just like because they have to get to some coverage, some given random number that this is the
Yeah,
number that we want to get to. They don't start with the most important ones, they start with the easiest ones.
yeah. Another thing you could very easily do is just put your tests at like a super top level, like, so things things that call a lot of things, and you might make a top level assertion on that. But are you really, I mean, you're now going to have a lot of coverage. The code has been run throughout your system, but is your test actually going to fail if any of those smaller things down the line have a problem? So not only do you need to make sure that you test the right things, you need to make sure that your tests are even effectively testing those areas. Your coverage number might being shown inflated because you're not really testing the units underneath, and you're not actually uh, uh, going to fail if any of those if a bug is introduced in any of those things, because your assertion is too broad at the top level.
I like that situation, the example that you're bringing as
Yeah,
well, because I have seen several times where there's a test, automated test created to generate some of this coverage, but
yeah,
it's built at a level so high that underneath are several components, several little
mhm,
pieces that can fail and
right,
will probably fail one of them.
right.
And you have a general fail. Yeah, this test didn't pass.
Yeah. Oh,
Why?
right. Oh,
Where?
that's another thing. Yeah, it's like, so. If it becomes very hard to pinpoint, the problem. Okay, great, you now know you have a problem. That's better than not knowing. But it won't you won't be able to, if you had unit tests that pinpoint the issue to a simple one or two lines of code. That's great, instead of just being told, well, the number is wrong at the end of a giant long process calling hundreds of functions. I was expecting a 2.7, but I got 2.8. Okay, what
What does it
what
mean? Was that
happened?
good? Yeah.
You have no idea. So yeah, so one of the things I'm going to be showing, and maybe it's new to a lot of people, is this concept of mutation testing, which and there are tools that do it. I'm going to show an open source tool that does it.
But
That
what
gets
is mutation
Yeah,
testing?
mutation testing. So the easiest way to do mutation testing, you could just do it yourself while you're coding. You look at your code, and you're in a function that has, let's say, 100% coverage. Maybe you're showing that in your IDE, and so 100% coverage. What you can do is look for a line in the code that has a very simple expression, like a plus sign or an illogical or, a less than equals, and just change it. Change your less than equals to less than. Change the plus to a minus,
Mhm.
and now just run your test. Well, hopefully they fail because you've just introduced a bug. But you'd be surprised how many times you could do that on covered code and tests will still pass, which means, oh, sure, you have coverage, but that
It's a
coverage is
test
kind of
slowly.
meaningless there. So what I do when I'm coding and I'm about to change something is I just do simple mutation testing just in the editor to just see, like, are the tests really going to help me here, or are they not going to actually help me make my change?
Because coverage requirements.
I have coverage, like, and I'm not saying it's intentional. This just happens. You get the coverage you want, and you might not look into it, but doing it piecemeal, just one at a time, that's fine. But wouldn't it be better if I can take an entire code base and run a process on it that generates, for all of my coverage, lines that have these simple changes, that could have these simple changes, and then systematically makes those changes reruns the test, makes the change, rerun the test, and then give me a report. Here are all the lines, and if they were mutated in this way, they do not break tests. And then I can use that as a way to know overall how effective. So I've got the coverage. How effective is that coverage? I can get a sort of a score against that, but also a list of these are places where you should try to improve your tests. You're getting coverage. You're not going to increase your coverage by doing this, but you're going to increase the effectiveness of that coverage. Which that's what I get at. Like if you're just only using coverage, you're not getting the full picture. You're not getting the effectiveness. So this is a way of improving the effectiveness of that coverage, not just the coverage.
There are so many times where we find a problem, and in production, the worst of the worst, the bad code made it onto production. But why? All our tests are passing. We
Yeah,
have the best coverage ever. What is happening here?
yeah,
And some of those situations.
yeah,
And I was smiling internally when you said, I'm not blaming the developers. I'm not. It's not like they
yeah,
did bad code. Sometimes
yeah,
it's probably even the test is poorly written. Or in my experience, when I've seen that happen the most, mocking.
yeah.
When you are mocking to be able to test,
Mm,
and you leave it there, and the mocking is there. I have been several times like, hey, what happens if I change this in the code with the mocking?
mm,
Still pass because the mocking
right,
is covering some other possible sources of problem,
right.
which is interesting. Brings back to the balance part where you were saying too much and a
Mm,
single test trying to cover too much,
mm,
or there's a kind of like a sweet spot in the middle, because
yeah,
I have seen teams like doing so unitary, so particular that they
mm,
have, I'm not kidding, thousands of
yeah,
automations to do as
right.
wide as possible the coverage. I think you may want something in the middle that
Yeah.
is.
Well, one thing to think about, and I'm not talking about this during my test, but it comes to mind is, are you testing the specification, or are you testing just what this thing happens to do right now that isn't a requirement that it do it? So are you testing just the behavior it currently has, which is allowed to change and would not be considered a bug if it were to change? Or are you testing what is actually required? So when you find that your tests are brittle, what a lot of times it's because you're just making sure nothing changes, which of course that can't be right because our software is constantly changing. So that I would say uh, if you're having brittleness in tests, that's a thing to think about. If you're um,
Yeah, yeah, that's and I love that in the mutation testing that you are, in a way, kind of testing your tests,
right,
making sure that they are testing effectively.
Mhm.
Because it could be just like pass, fail, or yeah, I think it passed. It's okay.
Yeah,
No, it's not okay. I'm playing around with the code, and you're still saying it's okay. And I know that this code I broke it,
right,
and random mutations of
right, right,
the application, which I think it's a big topic. I don't see that many
Mhm.
presentations
Right.
cover it. The few ones that I have seen are really good, and it's an
Yeah,
important. People listening, please pay attention to mutation testing and all these practices, which is, and coverage. I have a personal thing with coverage because it's
Mm.
like a loaded word that
Yeah.
is. I think it's
I
thrown out
know, I
easily,
know
and
that, and me too. And
that's why
so,
he's talking
yeah,
about it.
I think that's why I wanted to talk about it because I think I cringe if that's all you have. Like now, if that's all you have, I do have some suggestions for you. Like if you have to, like sometimes it's just mandated, you have no choice. Then I do have some suggestions I'm going to talk about for what to do about that. But generally, what I want you to do is try to combine it with something else. So one of the things that helps with metrics, just generally, a lot of them, if you they're one dimensional, they'll make you do one thing but at the expense of maybe something else, right? So uh, with coverage you might be, if you're just trying to get it but you're not covering like the most recent changes, like that might be something that might be better, or the most risky changes which might be better. So what I try to do, and what I'm going to show you, is if you combine a metric, any metric, code coverage included, but any metric, with another metric that kind of offsets the trade-off that you would be making, then you can come to like of a more happy medium of like where you get the coverage in a way that is also trying to improve this other metric, which is a trade-off offsetting metric. And then if you get both of those things, or in the case I'm going to show you four other things, if you're getting all of those things, then you probably are not gaming the system. You're getting coverage, or you're pointing it at the most risky changes, the most recent changes, and that would probably be better than just having only a coverage metric.
I love, and when you were mentioning as well, like the effectiveness, which might be another parameter that would be tricky to measure and
Mhm.
assign, but percentage of coverage and effectiveness of what that you are, that
Yeah, yeah,
those
that's
do
what
those
mutation
tests
testing will show
really
you.
do what they're supposed to be doing,
Right.
and add a little bit more. Don't go with just that single number.
Yeah.
I usually joke that there's so much hair here because in situations like that.
Right.
I hope that's not your case as well, but
Same. Yeah.
that can happen.
Mm.
So, Lou, looking at the time
Yeah.
now to start to ramp down a
Hmm.
little bit on this, all these topics that you're sharing and presenting, I think it's really transcendental, really important that people to learn a little bit more about them. Where can people get in touch with you if they have
Sure.
questions, they want to learn a better way to do coverage
Right.
or testing or that to not to
Well,
swim on it?
if you're here right now at Star West, try to find me. You can email me. If you go to loufranco.com, you can connect to me on LinkedIn. I'm Lou Franco on LinkedIn. You can email me through my site, and and I'd be happy if you're here to meet with anybody. If you come to my session, it's tomorrow. You can look on the session schedule. I think it's right before lunch, and I hope to see you there.
Now, to close up, you mentioned that you have been independent
Yes.
for the last few years now.
Yes.
What type of services or what do you do as independent that
Sure.
someone would be
Yeah.
interested in calling you?
Yeah. So if anything I've said about tech debt is kind of interesting to you, and your team is trying to come up with a process for dealing with it, I have developed a workshop that I can do with your team, and introduce them to these ideas of the eight questions, and how to use that as a scoring metric on your tech debt. Help you put together a backlog and a plan for dealing with it. But essentially, what I do is I'm a advisory consultant to software product teams. Mostly, I would say B2B software engineering product teams, and that's my main part of my clientele. And I'm available on to help teams, tackle different problems. I'm concentrating on technical debt, but I've helped teams with other different problems.
Lots of advisory
Yeah,
services
yeah.
and training. There you have it, amigos. Lou Franco, he's rocking it. I can tell. This is a
Mm.
conversation that I had to do a hard stop. Otherwise, yeah, that's a loaded term that we get lots of problems with. Lou, thank you so much for coming. I
Oh,
really, really appreciate you coming and sharing.
oh,
And
thanks, Sandro. I really appreciate you having me here.
no, 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 it's such a pleasure,
Thank
Lou.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And well, this is not over. This was our amigo Lou Franco. If you want to get in touch, you can find on LinkedIn. His name is on the corner. In the episode notes, you will find all the links to his site, to his book, and all the information about him. Stay tuned because this is not the last interview. We're going to have one more later today. But in a few, we're going to be running around in the convention center talking to the sponsors, checking all the booths,
Wow.
and doing lots of adventures. There's a performance testing panel and more things coming up today. So this is not yet over. For now, this is Leandro, Señor Performo, your amigo, and Lou. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Gracias, Lou.
Thank you. Thank you so much. An honor.
Adios, everybody.
Bye.
See you in a moment. 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 Yeah, sure. Oh, it's